Good evening, everyone. My name is Josh Travers. I'm the Assistant Field Manager for Red Rock Canyon, and I'm really excited to be here tonight with a number of individuals who have continuously supported the mission of Red Rock Canyon and our ability to ensure the work we do behind the scenes continues without being affected by the incredibly challenging and difficult year that we have all faced. The individuals supporting this event are Park Ranger Joe Katecki, Outdoor Recreation Planner Shelby Johnson, Lands and Realty Specialist Joni Guerrera, Public Affairs Specialist John Aslin and Kirsten Cannon, and the Red Rock Sloan Field Manager Katrina Williams. I want to call special attention to our Outdoor Recreation Planner John Prescott, who was temporarily assigned to Red Rock Canyon, but stationed in the Caliente field office to support the work that went into the Cottonwood Recreation Project and where we're at this point, and who will facilitate the majority of tonight's meeting. Thank you, John, for all of your work. I also want to share, we are fortunate to have Angela Bullets with us tonight, who is the Southern Nevada BLM District Manager. We don't get her all of the time, and we feel privileged and excited that she is with us tonight for this meeting. I'm also thrilled to see the turnout we have, and it shows how important this project is to the community. So thank you all for giving us your attention and being here tonight, offering your active participation, expertise, and experience. Your input and participation are incredibly important to making this planning effort a success, and for such, and for the BLM to deliver a well-developed recreation area management plan that supports your interests and care for such a spectacular place. For those who are less familiar with Red Rock Canyon, we are a national conservation area. There's approximately 298,000 acres managed by the Bureau of Land Management and is part of the National Conservation Lands System. It's important to remember that we're not a national park, but a national conservation area that is protected lands that offers opportunities for recreation, solitude, inspiration, and renewal, but our highest priority is resource protection. Along with our close proximation to Las Vegas, Nevada, and the growing population, we consistently, year after year, hold strong, being in the top 5 best things to do in Las Vegas on Yelp. Red Rock Canyon has become a national outdoor attraction, and in some cases, an international destination arena for many activities, including hiking, scenic viewing, horse riding, mountain biking, canyoneering, climbing, and bouldering. There has been tremendous growth in recreation activities. Up until 2010, most recreational activities, including climbing, hiking, and mountain biking, were happening at a sustainable rate. At present, most recreational activities are significant, and management of these activities need to be addressed that ensures we maintain a positive and safe recreational experience, support the growing demand for recreation activities, and to ensure we continue to protect the resources that supports all of the recreation activities for current and future generations. As we fast forward a couple years, moving from 2010, prior to 2016, Red Rock Canyon was visited by less than 2 million visitors per year. By 2018, we broke 2 million. We saw in 2019, 3.5 million visitors. And in 2020, 3.2 million visitors. If we had not closed the scenic drive from March through May due to the COVID closure and restrictions, visitation shows that we likely would have approximately had seen 3.8 million visitors this last year. With growing populations and expected growth and interest in recreation activities at Red Rock Canyon, We're developing a recreation area management plan for all areas with subsequent implementation issues that require specific focus. I'm excited to work with all of you tonight to collect information that will best inform us on how we need to establish the vision and set objectives and goals that will allow for this very important area to remain protected, but also support the growing demand in recreational opportunities. The intent of this project is to establish the vision, objectives, and goals that will provide site-specific direction for on-the-ground implementation of the resource management plan, including specific recreation permitting or use allocation decisions. This plan will address management, administration, information and education, and monitoring, and will include the need for trail maintenance, improved facilities, such as restrooms and parking lots. For BLM and Red Rock Canyon to be successful, it is incredibly important that we get input from all of you. We're looking for what conflicts you see, where there are issues, and if there's a need for additional opportunities. Again, we're extremely excited to be at this stage of the process. And in my opinion, it's probably one of the most important stages of the process that with your input will allow the BLM to implement a well-supported management plan. With that said, I'm going to hand this meeting over to our outdoor recreation planner, John Prescott, who will outline the meeting agenda and present to you where we're at in the planning process. Again, thanks for all your work, John. Thanks for all of your participation from all the public participation. And John, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Josh. So tonight's meeting agenda includes a couple introductions that Josh already went over, a short presentation on my part, a question and answer session, and a comments session. During the question and answer portion, you can use the Q&A chat box to type in your project-related questions, and the BLM will answer them either live or type them back to you in the chat box. Again, keep it to project-related questions. An example would be, how did the BLM choose the Cottonwood Plan boundaries? The comments portion we're reserving for the majority of this meeting. We have several people in attendance, and many of them did request to make comments, so we're going to try to get through as many folks as we can. So given that, we have a 2-minute time slot for each commenter. The BLM will not be responding to comments or questions during the comment portion of this meeting, but all comments are being recorded for the project record. And you will be able to email any subsequent comments to the project email address, which will be on the screen later in the slideshow, until March 22nd. So an example comment would be, the BLM should include Blue Diamond in the Cottonwood Plan boundaries. So the purpose of this meeting is to kick off a 30-day information gathering period. You will give us your input and ideas as to what should be included in the Cottonwood Valley Trails Recreation Area Management Plan. The BLM will draft the plan, submit that preliminary plan for another round of public review and comment, finalize the plan, sign a decision, and then begin implementation. The proposed timeline for this entire system until through implementation should be about 1 year, until we start implementation rather. So a little bit more about the Red Rock Canyon history again. It was originally designated as recreation lands in the 1970s and changed that designation to a conservation area in 1990. So again, just to reiterate that it's important to note that Red Rock Canyon is not a recreation area, nor is it a national park. The resource management plan informs the BLM's actions regarding access and use within the conservation area. Even though the Red Rock Canyon is not a recreation area, the resource management plan recognizes that recreation is a significant driver of visitation to the canyon. The resource management plan also recognizes the need to manage recreation in terms of both resource protection and visitor services. This map shows an overview of the Red Rock Canyon National Conservation Area. As Josh mentioned, it's 198,000 acres in size and contains two wilderness areas, the La Madre Mountain Wilderness and the Rainbow Mountain Wilderness. The red hatched area at the bottom of the map indicates the Cottonwood Valley Trail System planning area. So why do we need a recreation area management plan for the Cottonwood Valley? The BLM recognizes that the Cottonwood Valley trails are a vitally important asset to the Las Vegas community, and it's looking to proactively manage for specific visitor experiences, including the sustainable long-term use of the area's trails. As Josh mentioned, visitation to Red Rock has grown significantly since 2016, before which Red Rock had never seen more than 1.5 million visitors in a year. In 2019, Red Rock recorded 3.5 million visitors, and in 2020, recorded 3.2 million visitors. As mentioned earlier, if not for the pandemic, the BLM anticipates that we would have seen 3.8 million visitors to Red Rock Canyon. Again, if not for closing the scenic loop from March to June. So this increase in visitation to Red Rock Canyon has led to a wild increase in visitation to the Cottonwood Valley Trails area. Visitation to Cottonwood Valley Trails has increased by 47% since 2010. And the BLM estimates that approximately 1 million people came to the Cottonwood Valley Trails in 2020. This estimate is based off of Nevada Department of Transportation traffic data taken along State Route 160 and from the trailhead counters, vehicle counters that we have at the late night trailhead. So this increase in use and interest in the Cottonwood Valley Trails area has led to a number of environmental and social concerns that we are hoping to address with this plan. This map shows the Cottonwood Valley Trails planning area. Note that the planning area does not include any wilderness or private land in holdings within Red Rock Canyon. So Rainbow Mountain is excluded from the planning area, and so is Bonnie Springs and Blue Diamond. The planning area boundaries are based on the Cottonwood Trails map taken from the 2005 Resource Management Plan. An overview of the planning area is that it includes approximately, well, a little bit more than 23,000 acres, almost 67 miles of known trail, 34.9 miles of known authorized trail, 31.9 miles of known unauthorized trail, and 4 designated trailheads. Authorized trails are those trails designated in the 2005 Resource Management Plan, and unauthorized trails are social trails built without BLM coordination. This map shows an overview of the designated roads and trails within the planning area. The purple lines indicate the designated roads, and the pink lines indicate the designated trails, again, from the 2005 Resource Management Plan. This map shows the designated trailheads. We have Wilson Camp, the most popular trailhead, late night, off of State Route 160, and Cottonwood and Red Valley trailheads off of the Cottonwood Valley Road, south of State Route 160. There are also a number of undeveloped pullouts, undeveloped parking areas within the planning area, including a large one at off of Black Velvet Road, providing access to Black Velvet Canyon, another parking area near Windy Peak, and several pullouts along the Cottonwood Valley Road heading south towards Good Springs. So what are the issues that we need to address in this plan? We're hoping to address all of the issues that we're hoping to address are directly related to the increase in use and popularity of the Cottonwood Valley Trails area. These issues, again, include environmental concerns such as illegal trail development, soil erosion and compaction, trail widening and changing trail features, vegetation disturbance, wildlife disturbance and disruption to migration corridors, impacts to cultural resources, and impacts to the natural springs within the planning area. The other set of issues include social concerns, such as conflicts between user groups, balancing and managing for a desired user experience on the trails, crowding and capacity issues at the trailheads and surrounding areas, and weak partnerships with area trail groups providing trail maintenance on the trails. This map shows all of the known unauthorized trails within the planning area. Again, there are 31.9 miles of unauthorized trail compared to 34.9 miles of authorized trail. This data is all taken from online public trail apps that we're all familiar with, and the colors indicate the difficulties as designated by the users who submitted the trail data to these websites. So black being most difficult, blue being intermediate, and green are easiest. We kept these colors to help you identify, so you can easily identify your favorite trail in the area. It's really important to understand that there is no intent to close all of the unauthorized trails in the planning area. We fully understand that there's a need and a desire for these unauthorized trails, and that many of them serve a very practical purpose, such as avoiding sandy washes or roads. They also provide a diversity of uses of trail technicality in the planning area, and some are very family friendly. So it's important for the BLM to know exactly why an unauthorized trail was built in the first place. That way we can help plan a replacement trail if we need to close one and address that user need. Without addressing the need of the users, these unauthorized trails will just keep popping up. So the plan components will address the environmental and social concerns known within the planning area that I mentioned before. Again, there is no intent to close all of the unauthorized trails. The goals of this plan are to improve trail sustainability, improve access points and staging areas, manage for a defined user experience, manage multiple user groups, including new uses such as e-bikes. These proposed plan components are not fully fleshed out, which is why we're having this meeting. And they'll be better defined when we draft the preliminary plan. Again, the purpose of this meeting is to get your input as to what you want to see out in the Cottonwood Valley Trails area and help us define the proposed plan components. So Red Rock needs your help identifying those plan components. Again, your input is crucial to make sure that the management plan meets your expectations. We're looking for specific input as to what to consider on the trail, like uses that we're not considering, other things that we're missing, such as where we should consider new trailheads or new facilities. We want to know what your desired experience is when you're on the trails. Are you looking for challenge, escape, play, exercise, or something else? Your specific input and ideas will help the BLM better manage your use of and access to the area into the future and ensure that the area remains open and appealing to Las Vegas residents and visitors alike. So with that, we'll move on to the question and answer session. Again, you can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your project-related question. You can also ask your question anonymously if you feel like. The BLM will either answer that question live if it's project-related or type it back in the Q&A chat box. If you're feeling shy or we don't get to your question because we're hoping to keep it to about 30 minutes, you can email your questions to the project email address shown at the bottom of this slide. And again, this is an open discussion. Ask your question and the BLM will readily answer today. Thank you. So I think I will just go ahead and answer a couple of these questions. The first one from Frederick Kirschner was asking, are visitations projected to increase or decrease due to development of Cottonwood, i.e. alleviate or increase pressure? That's an interesting question because it'll probably do both. We're hoping to disperse use through the planning area. Part of that use dispersal might include developing new trailheads. And again, if we develop trailheads, you're bound to attract more people. We are hoping to develop more trails south of State Route 160, again, to disperse that use. But most of the increase in visitation is just going to be from word of mouth and due to Las Vegas population growing and the entire area as a whole getting more popular. The next question came from Seth Bentley, who asked, which online sources specifically was the trail data sourced from? They came from Trailforks and MTB Project. Question, oh, I think someone just chimed in.
Yes, John, this is Shelby.
Very bad echo. While we figure out our technical difficulties, I'll just keep moving down the line. John Williams asked, can we please make bikes not allowed on the non-motorized trails? That's a great question. Please submit that as a comment to the project email shown on your screen. If there are specific trails that you would not like to see mountain bikes, your input is sought after. So again, please submit that comment to us at the project email address. Next question from Jonathan Segrist. Where is the BLM considering adding dispersed camping? We don't know yet. Again, this is almost like a pre-scoping, and we're looking for input from you as to where dispersed camping might be appropriate. Again, that doesn't mean that we are going to do it, but it's something that we will consider in the proposed plan.
Right. Yeah, Jonathan, thank you for that question. Considering dispersed camping, we know that that area is pretty popular when it comes to that. Next question, Frederick has another question with what is the BLM's policy on e-assisted bikes in non-motorized areas?
So I can answer that. The Department of the Interior just issued a new rule regarding e-bikes on non-motorized trails, and basically the rule gives the local authorized officer or area manager the authority to designate, to allow e-bikes, class 1, 2, and 3 e-bikes on non-motorized trails. Right now, the policy in Red Rock is that e-bikes are not allowed on non-motorized trails. In order to change that rule, it would have to go through the NEPA process, which is what this preliminary plan is going to be going through. So if you have an opinion as to whether e-bikes should be allowed on the non-motorized trails, or please let us know, again, at the project email address shown at the bottom of your screen.
All right, we have another question that says, are there any plans to limit the use across the entire area within the Cottonwood Valley?
At this point, no, there aren't any plans to limit use.
Thank you for that, Alicia. Another question, what environmental concerns are considered when closing unauthorized trails?
what environmental concerns are considered? Well, several factors. The trail sustainability, like the grade of the trail, the sensitivity of the area that the trail is going through. For example, if it's going through a wilderness area or a migration corridor or near a sensitive riparian or through a sensitive riparian area. Those are all heavy factors in considering whether to close a trail or not. The other thing that we want input on is how popular some of the unauthorized trails are. So if one of the trails or some of the trails in particular provide vital access to certain areas within the planning area that are maybe especially scenic, we want to know that. We want to know if a particular unauthorized trail is your favorite trail that you ride every Sunday with your family or something. So the popularity of use, I guess the utility that the trail has within the planning area and the system overall. And if it provides any added value to the overall trail network.
Perfect. Thank you for that question, Judy. The next question is from Krista Hunter, asking, will signage be placed to educate visitors on trail etiquette? And Krista, I can answer that question. The plans is yes. We want to make sure that we inform, any visitors that come to visit that area that, they know what can be there, what's, not supposed to be there, so that everybody can have an understanding of what resources, what recreational activities can happen in that area, so that we can try to keep the NCA as pristine as we can. Next question from Patty Christensen. Will these new or reestablished trails have equestrian access, and will they be separated for bikers versus horsers versus walkers and climbers? John, will you answer that question?
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing that we're looking for. If you want to see certain uses designated on either new trails or the existing trails, please let us know, and please tell us why. Again, we're looking for that kind of input. We don't have any proposed new trails yet. Again, that's something that we're hoping to flesh out through the preliminary plan and through this comment process. We're hoping to get ideas for new trails from you all. You're the ones that use that area, and you tend to know where you want to see a trail. If there's a scenic vista or something like that, please let us know, and we really want to consider proposals, those kinds of proposals.
Yes, thank you for that question, Patty. Next question kind of goes off of that last one as well, from Carmen, asking what factors would we use as BLM to decide which trails to close? And John, I'll let you reiterate that.
Yeah, again, several factors might include overall utility that the trail has within the trail network, if it serves a specific purpose, if it brings some kind of benefit to the trail network that isn't provided by the other trails. If it goes through, again, riparian areas, wilderness areas, sensitive wildlife habitat, cultural areas, things like that. Those are all factors that we consider when closing trails.
Perfect. Thank you for that question, Carmen, and hopefully that got answered. Just reading through. One question, is the plan focused on trails only, or is it considering use of dirt roads such as the Black Velvet Access Road?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Yeah, so it's asked from Jimmy, is the plan focused on trails only, or is it considering use of dirt roads such as Black Velvet Access Road?
The plan is heavily focused on trails, but considering all uses within the planning area. So again, I showed that map of the designated roads. So really anything within that planning area is on the table for either if it's a maintenance concern that you're worried about or something else. Please let us know throughout the comment period, which again is open until March 22nd.
Thank you for that question, Jimmy. We have another question from Judy asking, will trash cans be provided and maintained at trailheads? And I can go ahead and answer that. The plan is to have amenities at each of the trailheads, whether it be restrooms, extra trash cans. We want to make sure that, the area has plenty of things that if there is trash, you have the availability to use that. We do maintain them with a contracted out company, and they are constantly out there washing the bathrooms, checking the trash. And so with the extra amenities out there that we would provide, that there should be sufficient amount of trash cans out there in the at Cottonwood Valley. Thank you for that question, Judy. We have a question from Scott Lee asking, what is the BLM signage policy? John, could you answer that question?
I guess that question's a little bit vague. I can try to answer though. The BLM does have a signage plan, a manual that gives guidance on style, color, themes, things like that. Yeah, I mean, I guess to try to answer your question a little bit better, our policy on signage is that really only authorized trails should be signed.
Another question from Judy. Will BLM provide additional field enforcement staff to manage the area? And I can answer that as well, Judy. The plan is to hopefully get more park rangers so that we are able to cover the amount of area that the NCA consists of. We have plans to make sure that we have ample people working the office and getting out constantly so that we can be out managing the areas, monitoring the areas, because we do want to focus on what's readily available in our office and have the ability to make sure that the areas can have people monitoring, make sure that there's nothing going on and anything to do with if something happens. So that's the plan, is to have field going park rangers that are going to be out there and be able to be there for the general public if they have any questions. Rob Hutchison has a question. When will the plan be available to review? And I will let John answer that question.
It's at this point, it's a little bit hard to say. Again, we have this comment period open until March 22nd. We'll sort through all those comments and incorporate them as best we can into the proposed plan. Maybe Josh has a better idea of when the proposed plan will go up for public comment, but my best guess off the top of my head would be probably in the next 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, John, you're right. Within the next 6 months, we plan to have this in a draft form for the public to review.
Thank you for that question, Rob. Next question we have from an anonymous attendee asking, what sort of information has been gathered about increased use of Cottonwood Valley south of 160? Anecdotally, they've seen a very increase over the past decade. And I will let John answer that question.
Yeah, south of 160, we don't really have great data on that. We have had some vehicle counters out there, and unfortunately, they were a little bit too close to the bladed road and they got destroyed when the graders went through. But I guess just observations from the field, that particular area is very popular with the OHV crowd, heading south to Good Springs and having big days out. There are some very popular mountain bike trails down there as well. And I do believe that climbing is getting a little bit more popular in the limestone bluffs, but we don't have very good solid data on how popular that area actually is.
Thank you for that, John. Again, we want to thank everybody for their questions. As we're going through the questions, we're making sure that we're trying to focus on the ones that are Cottonwood Valley ramp specific. All the questions that you have can be sent to the email that has been sent out. John, I know this is a pretty popular question that's going on considering e-bikes and pedal assist bikes. Do you want to retouch on that?
What's the specific question?
Asking about e-bikes on the trails, kind of like the BLM's thoughts on what's considered a motorized versus the e-bike and what's the difference between pedal assists versus the e-bikes, I guess.
Yeah, so comparing an e-bike to a dirt bike, I guess a traditional motorized vehicle. If you want more information on that, I encourage you to go to the BLM's website and look at the rule. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what the direct link is, but I do know that the revised e-bike rule is posted on the BLM's website for everyone to look at. Overall, the BLM stance on allowing e-bikes on non-motorized trails, again, it's the direction is that it's up to the area authorized officer. And real generally, the current rule says that e-bikes are allowed only on designated motorized trails and roads, and unless stated otherwise. So to change that designation and allow e-bikes on non-motorized trails, that plan needs to go through the NEPA process, through an environmental assessment. So the BLM will be considering allowing e-bikes on the non-motorized trails through this plan. So it's going to go through the environmental assessment process and the NEPA process. And I guess you will, again, we're looking for your comments. If you feel strongly one way or another on that proposal, we do want to get your comments on that sent to the email address. And again, the proposed plan will go out for another round of public review. So you'll have your chance to voice your opinion again. But right now we don't have any specifics. Again, at this stage, this is a very early in the planning process.
Thank you for that, John. Cinna Hunter has a question. Will this new recreation area have its own information center, printed trail maps, etc., similar to what is offered at the Scenic Drive? You want to answer that, John?
I'm going to punt this one to Josh.
So the question again, Josh, is will the new recreation area have its own information center, printed trails, maps, etc., as it's offered within the Scenic Drive, or same as the Scenic Drive?
Yeah, no, great question. And the plan is to, as we inventory the trail network and we develop sign plans for this, that we're going to support it with maps. As far as a trail center and facilities to support this area, we're not considering any of that at this time, but we're open to any and all feedback that you provide and what would make that a better and more ideal recreation area.
Thank you, Josh. And thank you for the question, Cinna.
So I think just for a heads up, we'll respond to a couple more questions, but we did have a lot of requests for comments. And again, we're offering a 2-minute time slot for each person to make their comment public and live. So we'll probably go for just another couple minutes here until 6:45, and then open the floor for comments.
I have a question from Elias Jordan asking, is there currently any commercial use in the area? Has there been expressed commercial use interest in the area? I can go ahead and answer that question for you, Elias. Yes, there is commercial use in the area. An environmental assessment was done back in 2012 for the Cottonwood Valley, expressing that there are so many activities and so many permits per activity, to include events, organized groups, pretty much anything that would be considered a commercial use. So that has been discussed in a previous environmental assessment. If we get enough interest from the public's comments, that may be taken into consideration, whether to broaden that or to leave it as is. Thank you for the question.
So there are obviously a lot of questions that we're not going to be able to get to tonight. Again, please send your questions to the project email address, and we will do our best to respond to them that way.
Rob Hutchison asks another question. Are there any plans for more parking, water, and bathroom facilities along the trailheads at Cottonwood? John, I'll go ahead and let you answer that question.
Yeah, that is definitely something we want to consider. Yeah, we'll be looking into the need for additional bathrooms, maybe not water facilities, but restrooms for sure. You know, in the area south of State Route 160 and elsewhere. Again, if you have ideas on where you'd like to see a new trailhead with a toilet or something like that, please let us know in your comments.
Thank you for the question, Rob. And thank you for the answer, John. We have a question from Patty asking, would unauthorized trails have a caution sign of some sort for prevention of access? John, you can go ahead and answer that one.
Yeah, I think that is something that we're going to need to consider. Obviously out there right now, there aren't any signs like that discouraging use of unauthorized trails. So that is something we're going to have to consider. If we do decide that a trail needs to be closed, that will go out for, again, public review, but you know, the trail will be restored to a natural state, and then should be signed as well to discourage use on it.
Thank you for the question, Patty. Elias Jordan had another question about high-powered e-bikes and electric bikes being used, and is it going to be considered in the Cottonwood area? And I'm going to go ahead and reiterate kind of on what John said, that yes, we do have a lot of the e-bikes and electric dirt bikes that are being brought up. That is something that is being taken into consideration. And like John has said, if you guys send your questions, your comments to that email, it'll be taken into consideration. And also we will make sure that it's in there, because we are getting a lot of use from e-bikes and things on trails out in the Cottonwood Valley area. Thank you for that, Elias.
There's one question I do want to bring up. It's come from John Heggies, and one other person was asking about climbing access trails. So at the same time that we're doing this, Red Rock is in the midst of kicking off a climbing management plan. So climbing access and those access trails are being considered in that separate plan. But obviously, this plan and the climbing plan specifically will have to play nicely together to make sure that there's no conflict in uses. John Hages was asking about the trail access off the highways where you have to climb over barbed wire fencing. How does that situation ever improve? I guess we need a little bit more context to talk about that in the plan. So again, please submit your comments if you're concerned about specific climbing access. Please email your comment to the project email address, and we will look at that in the proposed plan.
Yes, thank you for that, John. Judy had another question asking, will online trail maps be available? And I can answer that, Judy. Yes, the eventual plan is to get, once this entire plan has been put together and we get the designated trails into a map, the plan is to get that out onto the BLM website so that they're accessible to anyone that would like to have access to them, so that the public can get to those. Thank you for that question. We had an anonymous attendee ask a question, which I'm going to refer to Josh Travers. It's asking, is there a long view of this area as a fee area, or is that not being discussed?
At this time, we're not looking at a fee area in the Cottonwood area that would be tied to this plan. That's just not something that we're looking at for that area right now.
Thank you for that question. Again, I want to reiterate everybody asking questions. We appreciate them. Trying to get to as many as we can concerning the Cottonwood Valley, and the other ones, if you'd please just refer back to that email address and send your comments and concerns there.
So I think we should open up the floor to public comments. Again, during this comment session, we won't be responding to your comment. So you can ask a question if you'd like, but don't expect an answer. This entire meeting is being recorded for the project record, so any comments you make will be incorporated into included in the review of public comments after March 22nd. You know, as we develop this plan further. So to start off, I think we should have a list of folks that requested to make comments when they registered. So we're going to start with those people. And if we have time, we'll open the floor to anybody else. Thank you. Thank you for your questions. And again, sorry that we just can't get to all of the questions tonight. Please email your questions to that email address, and we will do our best to respond there. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to start the public comment period here. You have 2 minutes. Like John said, if you have any questions, there won't be anyone to answer them because this is just for recorded public comments. So we're going to start out with Lisi Hendricks. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. Or I'm sorry, say your comment.
Thanks. Hi, my name's Lisi Hendricks, and I'm the president of the Southern Nevada Climbers Coalition. The Southern Nevada Climbers Coalition is a 501c3 organization, and we work to protect access to climbing in Southern Nevada. We represent hundreds of climbers living in Southern Nevada, and Cottonwood Valley is home to a world-class resource that's not only used by locals, but is used also by hundreds of thousands of traveling rock climbers. As the organization that advocates for all these climbers and works to mitigate their impact alongside the BLM, We would like to express 3 specific interests related to the future management of Cottonwood Valley. First, we want to ensure future access to rock climbing in Cottonwood Valley. We also want to ensure that there is a plan to maintain and develop further rock climbing resources in the Cottonwood Valley area. For example, the new wildlife gates that have been installed across SR 160 are preventing access to a climbing area called Chocolate Rocks. We would love to see these new gates have access points installed that allow people to continue to recreate on public land. Second, we want to see additional free and legal dispersed camping options within Cottonwood Valley. At the moment, there is very little camping available in the NCA, and the dispersed camping in Cottonwood Valley cannot be accessed because Las Vegas Metro closed the access road. We believe that Cottonwood Valley could be a place where there could be free dispersed camping for climbers and other users, and would love to assist the BLM in finding the right spot for this use. Third, we would like to see improved infrastructure, signage, and parking for recreational areas that already exist in Cottonwood Valley. We believe that these things will help mitigate impacts caused by users of the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisi.
Thank you, Lisi. Our next person is Cam Ring. You're up.
Hi guys, I am also part of the SNCC and we're excited to be here today because we like this area a lot. One thing I would be interested in seeing is additional fee camping. I don't know if there's any plans to create an actual campground in the Cottonwood Valley area, but I feel like this is a definite need for the area, and we would either love that or more dispersed camping. And that's my comment. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Cam. Next is AJ Pagano. Hey, there you go.
Hey, I'm here. Sorry about that. No, I got kind of caught off guard. I was just listening to everybody else's great comments. Yeah, I've partaken in pretty much all those activities, minus climbing and e-biking back there. And there's going to be, I don't know how to let more people know about this in order to get more public involvement in this. Because I mean, right now I mountain bike, I've hiked back there, I've taken my Jeep down on those roads, and I know that people will get, I mean, I've been on both sides of this, where somebody's with buying a bike or somebody's in the middle of the trail. And I'd like to see just more, maybe even signage. We keep on talking about that out there for people to participate in these public hearings, because there's going to be a lot of resentment towards other people. And everybody's made valid points and great questions on it. And I've seen that area over the past 15 years go from no one being down there to a lot of people now. And yeah, just to have more public input so people could comment on that and be a part of it. So maybe something over there, like in the next, I don't know, between now and March 22nd, just to get that kind of involvement. And you could cut my 2 minutes short at this point.
Thank you, AJ.
Yep, thank you, AJ. Judy Brandt, you are next.
Hi, I was just going to send an email. I just sent you a message. I'd send an email comment, but which I will do. But yeah, this meeting has been great. Starting to look at all the concerns, and so just I'm very concerned about trail use, trail overuse, and I've been mountain biking in the area for over 25 years now, and hiking. So just anxious to see what the plan is going to be. So like I said, I'll yield my time to somebody else who's got a comment, and I'll put my comments in. I guess are we gonna, will there be when will the compilation, I guess, will be ready? That's the one question I did have, but I guess that question time is over. But in any case, I think it's great that we're going to be working on managing these trails. Thank you.
Thank you. John Williams, you're next. Oh, and anyone who's already been on, please mute yourself afterwards. John Williams, are you available?
Oh, here I am. Sorry, I thought I was unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yes.
we can hear you now.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having this. This is fantastic. You know, I have mixed feelings on several issues. One issue is dispersed camping. As somebody who loves to disperse camp, I hate to even say this, but I think it should not be allowed in the area. I think it's such a finite area, small area, that having dispersed camping will cause greater impact and change the nature of the area. I really like the fact that you can go out there and not run into campgrounds and campers and things like that. Second, I feel very strongly e-bikes of any kind should not be allowed on the trails. They are a motorized vehicle, period. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Also, car camping, van camping. Now, if I'm correct, I was under the impression that van camping, overnight camping in the parking lots, et cetera, was not allowed. And with the rise of van camping, I mean, it's crazy along the 159 highway and stuff. Now you can go out and just see people all over the sides of the roads, and it's going to start happening in the parking lots more and things like that. So I'm really hoping that that's going to be addressed and enforced. You know, I think in areas around the country where there's much more wilderness area to spread out, it's different. But in Vegas, with such limited resources, I feel like we should look at opening other campgrounds that are designated in specific areas to concentrate, you know, use and impact those areas and not have it be a part of the Cottonwood Valley area. So those are my concerns and comments. I appreciate it very much, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. Next is Alicia Levy.
Hi, my name is Alicia Levy. I'm also associated with the Southern Nevada Climbers Coalition, but would like to make my comments as an individual rock climber. I just want to make sure that the interests of rock climbers are addressed and that access to climbing is not restricted in any way, and that access to the parking lots associated with rock climbing are not restricted in any way. So that's all I had really to say. I do think that it would be great to have some camping opportunities in the Cottonwood Valley area, whether they be designated or dispersed. There does need to be some additional overflow camping in the greater Las Vegas area. So thank you.
Thank you, and I'm sorry for mispronouncing your last name. Next is Scott Lee.
Hi, I'm a resident of Blue Diamond, and you know, I've been here for a while, and basically what you talked about with the increase of people coming here, it just seems that over the years that people, you know, most people that come here regularly have pretty good idea of the courtesy on the trail and what to do about trailheads if they're regulars, but we're getting so many new people coming here that I would really like to see some better signage at the trailheads, particularly educational issues about, you know, trail courtesy, awareness of private property, staying on the trails instead of running out and expanding these single tracks to where they're basically, you know, getting to where they're roads, you know. And I think also along 159, the trailheads that you have there, like First Creek and Oak Creek and, you know, all those along there, it would be really nice to inform people that are parking there to get completely off of the apron of 159 for the safety of road bikers. Now, I'm not saying that people haven't done that. It just seems like what's happening is we're getting more and more people in here and they just they don't know.
Thanks.
So that's all I've got to say.
Okay, so anyone who was on before and you're not muted, please mute yourself. Was that it, Scott? I'm sorry.
Oops.
I think it was. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott.
Jen Hanks, you are next.
Hi, I'm an avid cyclist, so that's a little bit about me. And I had this whole big thing planned, but basically I just want to show my support for continuing to maintain the mountain bike trails that are there, and to really be looking at how we can build more trails that are sustainable, as well as grandfathering in trails that are maybe already built, but they're well built. I do understand that there needs to be a balance between environmental protection and the recreational usage of the land. But there's also examples of nearby communities that have successfully found this balance. The BLM managed Red Cliffs National Recreation Area in neighboring southern Utah has mountain bike designated trails. So I think that's definitely something that we can continue to look towards here in Las Vegas. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Patrick Kell.
Hey, this is Patrick Kell here from IMBA. First of all, I want to say thanks to the BLM for this presentation and for your work in general. IMBA have worked extensively with the BLM, with John specifically in Caliente, Nevada. We've done some work planning up in Beatty, Nevada, and we developed a book called the Guidelines for Quality Trail Experience. That was a collaboration between IMBA and the BLM. So we certainly enjoy a very productive relationship. I would primarily I would defer to any local mountain bikers, for example, those in the Southern Nevada Mountain Bike Association, which is an IMBA chapter, for specifics. The first thing I'd like to specifically comment on is that I appreciate that the BLM are considering bringing non-system trails into the plan and potentially approving them. I think they show demand. But again, I would defer to the local riders for the specifics on which trails are sort of the most prized. And certainly we wouldn't want to see any access lost on any system trails. For example, we wouldn't want to see a plan that stated that mountain bike access should be removed from any of the existing trails without fair reason and without expansion in other places. So that's pretty much everything from me. I will drop my email address into the chat function. And if any local mountain bikers want to get in touch with me, they can send me an email. And I'm based in Prescott, Arizona, so I'm relatively close by for those that wanted to maybe get together and chat. So I definitely appreciate it. Thanks to the BLM.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick. Krista Hunter, you are next.
Hi, I've lived in proximity of the Cottonwood Trail system since 1994 and used it in all sorts of ways and fashion. And I've noticed lately, it's not so much the seasoned users that need education, it's the new users. And also I'd like to address that I think Blue Diamond should be included in the ramp since most of the users do originate from Blue Diamond. And a lot of the effort you put into the trailheads outside of Blue Diamond, you would miss those user groups starting from Blue Diamond. And concerns I have is, what do you do on the trail? How do you go around other riders? We're seeing a lot of damage in the desert from people who, they may not be from here or may not know that our desert takes ages to regenerate and they just go through bushes or dislodged cactus with no thought. I heard it mentioned in the question and comments that there were trash cans. That's a negative. There are no trash cans at late night and people are just dumping their trash along the trail. But a lot is going to be said about e-bikes, trash, and trail erosion. But I have a fun idea. Instead of these bland brown signs that we're trying to make our area appealing and friendly, we should consider commissioning local artists to place signs along our trails. This has been done in Gallup, New Mexico, and it's pretty fun. Makes the trails pretty memorable. That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Krista. Next is Daniel Lopez. Daniel, are you there?
I have no comment.
Okay. No comment? Okay. Okay, bear with me for a second. I have to get the next person. Heather Fisher, you are next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank you for doing this. It's the first of its kind that I can remember for a long time, and we appreciate it a lot. I'm the president of Save Red Rock, and when we put the word out to the people on our mailing list, we got a lot of positive, grateful feedback. we got some comments and concerns, which we're sending your way on, we'll send you an email, and we're going to give them that link for the 30-day feedback as well. I just want to mention some of the initial concerns and comments that we got. One is that trail users have expressed interest in coordinating all the areas of the National Conservation, like the stuff east of Blue Diamond and in the north, and putting education at the trailheads so that it can all be coordinated and have some disbursement relief. And second, coordination with the Spanish Trail Historical Society. Third, coordination with the Red Rock Legacy Trail future phases. Another one was coordination between field enforcement and bike counters in addition to vehicle counters. I don't know if you have bike counters as well, but that was a comment. Also, race promoters are interested in weighing in on event management rules, if those are going to be part of this plan. And then finally, a safety issue, that when trailheads are added to 159 and 160, that they are built in such a way that the car drivers can turn around and exit head first instead of backing out, and to make sure that visibility of the bike lanes is paramount in this construction. Thank you for your time, and especially for this public forum. We appreciate it, and we'll be happy to share it.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Heather. Next is Brian Friesen.
Hi, everybody, and thanks to the BLM for holding this public meeting. I would just like to echo what Lisi Hendricks said. I'm with the SNCC as well, so protecting climbing access in this area. Additional dispersed camping. I have driven out to the Cottonwood Valley before, driven past it into the area, I guess, where there's currently camping allowed. The roads there, for anyone we would like to suggest going out there to camp, are rough for a lot of people in vans and cars. So improvement of those roads, improvement of roads to climbing areas as well. The dirt roads that head out, I believe, to Black Velvet Canyon would be in this area as well. And because it's hard for us to direct people to go to proper campsites when they can't access them or there's not enough available. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Next up is Josh Pace.
Hi, I'm also a local climber and just wanted to reiterate what a couple of other climbers have said is, for the camping situation, I'm not sure I would like to see camping in the actual Cottonwood area, but for example, the road going to the dispersed camping near Avery Road, I'm not really sure what the name of that is. That road is actually really rough, and I think some cars would even have trouble going down that road. So when the SNC is directing people to go there and camp, not everyone can actually make it. And I did see somewhere that there is a plan to improve the camping next to Calico Basin, the fee area. So that's good. So overall, I just wanted to also make sure that the climbers' voices were heard and that climbing access would be prioritized. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Josh. Next is Elena Renz.
Hello, my name is Elena Renz. I'm a Las Vegas resident and local rock climbing guide. I'd like to echo the comments from the SNCC in maintaining climbing access. However, I'd also like to speak to the off-road vehicle use of the area. Also an avid dirt biker and use the Cottonwood Trail system to ride out to Good Springs and all the backcountry areas there. So I'd like to maintain access for that type of vehicle usage. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Elena. I'm still looking for the next one. We had some people who signed up who are not here. Okay, next one is Roberto Raimundez.
Yes, hi. Thank you to the BLM for hosting this meeting. I'd just like to echo the support for camping, whether that's dispersed or fee-based. I think everybody would love to see a place for vans, trucks, cars, anyone to kind of just pull up and sleep in their vehicle or on the side, similar to that of stovepipe wells in Death Valley National Park. Obviously dispersed camping would bring a lot more people, a lot more trash if it's not regulated or watched after. But some cheaper fee-based camping would be a great way to generate revenue for the pickup and for the area, as well as have a place to send everybody, whether they be mountain bikers, climbers, hikers. I'd also like to see better signage and safety and along 159 for all those pullouts. A lot of cyclists, road cyclists are riding by and have near misses with cars pulling out, cars pulling in. And maybe another parking lot, another trailhead near Blue Diamond, but is better regulated, better watched after, maybe a little further, a quick ride away from the local amenities there, but still keeps the privacy of the residents as they desire. And that's it for my comment.
Thank you, Roberto. Next is Roxana McDade.
Hi, I'm Roxana McDade. I didn't know I was going to speak, but I would just like to say, I understand people's thoughts about the e-biking, but I think there's a lot of people, including myself, unfortunately, that are getting a little older, and we like the opportunity to be able to use those. So that is something to consider. And also, I agree with the use of the motorized bikes on the other side of the road from the late night trailhead. And one more thing. Oh, yes. And also the access for rock climbing. I would like to see that be maintained and kept as it is, or in better condition than it is. As far as the camping is concerned, I would like to not have any dispersed camping out there. It's just such a beautiful area, and there's got to be somewhere else that people can go. I know, when I lived in my van, I stayed in the Albertsons a lot. So we definitely need another solution for camping, but I don't know that that is the right place. And there's so many people there now already. It just seems like it can't really hold that. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Roxana. Next is Travis Graves. Travis, you there? Travis, you there? Travis Graves? All right, we're going to move on to the next person. Well, it looks like a lot of people left. Let's see. Joshua James, you are next.
Hey there, can you hear me?
Yep, sure can.
Great, I'm sorry, I'm a little late to the meeting, so I missed a lot, but I do just want to echo the comments that have encouraged, the one a desire for climbing access and mountain biking access. I think that's important. I do think that there should be more camping options. But I also don't think that this particular area is where they should be. I think what Roxana said about it just being so beautiful and butting up right up against wilderness, that camping in that particular spot isn't the right move. I also just wanted to thank you guys for hosting this, and I'm glad that we climbers and mountain bikers have a good relationship with the BLM. I hope that that can continue. And lastly, I would like to see more patrols out there. I know that there's limited resources, but I'm under the impression that there are no patrols before 8 a.m. and it's that critical time where illegal camping is sort of going on. So if the camping situation changes, that's fine, so be it. But right now, I know there's a lot of illegal camping happening, and I think that needs to be enforced. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. Brendan, excuse me if I mispronounce your last name. Is it Koch? Brendan Koch? Coach? Brendan, you there? K-O-C-H? Okay, let's move on to the next person. Just a second. Okay, next one. I'm definitely not going to get your name right. And I apologize. Kestistis, I cannot pronounce your last name. I'll let you just go right ahead.
Sure, thanks. No problem. I'm biking in this area quite often, and just have a few comments. Maybe there would be good considerations to have some single tracks being one way, or construct a different alternative tracks that go in opposite direction nearby. It's getting really busy sometimes in the weekends, where that's forcing the bikers to stop a lot, and probably that leads to extra erosion on the track, where you have to pass other bikers going the opposite direction. I think going one way in some really busy segments could be good, at least on the weekends. Just something for consideration. Another thing is there are dirt roads definitely leading access to trailheads for hiking. Those are important to keep, but let's say if they were to be made more accessible, with much more improved or asphalted, that would lead to much more traffic there as well. So I think that, the bike trails, crossing them quite often and a lot, and that could be leading to more to some accidents. I had some close call even on a dirt even on a dirt road. So thanks for that.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next up is Seth Bentley.
Hi, thanks for having this. And yeah, I'd just like to continue on with the rock climbers here and say that access to this area is very important for the sport and for the local community, especially. Having this access is a real asset to living in Las Vegas, and being able to recreate here pretty readily is something that keeps a lot of residents happy, healthy, fit. I think it's very important to maintain that for local residents, in particular, the access to these areas. Yeah, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Seth. Well, that's the end of the list. Is there anyone who hasn't made a comment, who would wish to make a comment? Please raise your hand. One hand up, a couple of hands up. First one, Jonathan Segrist.
Hi there. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, sure can.
Hey, I'm Jonathan. I just first want to say thanks to the BLM, and also thanks to the Vegas community of bikers, rock climbers, and just like outdoor enthusiasts for showing up. It's really cool to hear a bunch of my friends here speaking on behalf of the community, and that's great. And I love that. So thanks again, everybody. I'm a climber. I've lived in Las Vegas for a long time. I've been using the Cottonwood Valley rec area for about 12 years. The things that I wanted to address is, firstly, since the construction has been done on 160, as it was mentioned before by Lisi, there's climbing access points on both the north and the south side of the highway that's been blocked by fences. I would love to see those areas reopened or some way to get through the fence so that we can access the climbing both on Mount Potosi that's accessed from 160 and also on the south end of the Sandstone and Red Rock. I also, while it is hard for me to say that I'd love to see dispersed camping out there, I do think that camping is so critical for the area, and there's almost none of it. And there's so many visiting climbers that want to be in vans and in tents and stuff that I think that a fee camping area or dispersed camping is something we absolutely need. And I don't love to see it here, but I do think that this could be one of the best places for it. So I would love to see camping. I'd also like to preserve climbing access on the east side of Mount Potosi in general, which is accessed a little bit farther south away from 160. And then I'd also just like to echo Krista's ideas earlier about a local artist doing the signage. I think that's really cool. And that's pretty much all I've got. So thanks, you guys.
Thank you, Jonathan. Next up is John Hedges.
Hello, this is John Hedges. Can you hear me?
Yep, sure can.
All right. Yeah, I just wanted to echo previous comments about a hard no on electric bicycles on the bike trails. I just think it's really unfair to have motorized equipment off the road. Also, I think dispersed camping with bathrooms on South Cottonwood Road would be a great idea. I'm also concerned about the fencing that's along the highways. As been mentioned earlier, Chocolate Rocks on the south side of the escarpment there is cut off from Highway 160. You have to either climb a barbed wire fence or go through some wild animal facilities that have been recently constructed with the new highway construction that's been recently completed. Cactus Joe's and Blue Diamond Cave also have access issues as far as having to climb fences. I think coordinating with the Old Spanish Trail Association would be a great idea. It'd be nice to see because there's just a real beautiful section of the Old Spanish Trail that's in this area that we're discussing. So it'd be nice to see some recognition for the long time history of the area there. And I'm really concerned about the development of new bike trails and how that process occurs. It seems like it's been kind of the Wild West, and these bicyclists can just have their way with creating new trails as they see fit. So I think there should be an approval process that will guide us in the future as to the way that new trails are developed. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Next is Weston Lipia. Am I close? Weston, did I lose you?
Can you hear me?
Yep, sure can.
Excellent. You were close. It's Weston Lipia. My name's Weston Lipia. I've been a Nevada resident now for 21 years, or 20 years, and have been mountain biking and climbing in the area for over a decade. And first and foremost, it's a beautiful area that definitely needs to be preserved. I think that the preservation of access for both mountain biking as well as climbing are paramount here. With that being said, I feel that all the legacy trails that are currently in existence there, though at least the overwhelming majority of them should remain as such through any of the sanctioning processes. Certainly in favor of maintaining the access for both rock climbing as well as mountain biking throughout the area, and the BLM doing anything that would permit that to continue. Huge proponent of all the signage. There is a desperate need to educate new users. Both the rock climbing community as well as the mountain biking community have seen a huge influx of new users who are not necessarily well versed with the societal norms of those activities and kind of the rules of the trail, so to speak. In addition to that, with respect to the dispersed camping, certainly any kind of dispersed camping north of State Route 160 is probably more inappropriate than it is appropriate. However, on the south side, I feel that if it's, maybe a mile off the road or something, or a mile off of 160, that would be appropriate. Certainly, as far as new trail development, I think that it is a little bit of a Wild West out there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, there needs to be approval processes, but there definitely needs to be some kind of process. But with that, thank you for the time, and thank you for conducting this meeting.
Thank you, Weston. Our next is Jimmy O'Day.
Howdy. You hear me?
Yep, sure can.
Yeah, really thanks to the BLM for hosting this and thinking about how to make this area even better, handling the influx of folks. I was born and raised in Vegas. I've been recreating in the area probably since 1998. I'm trying to think when I first went out there. Run the trails and now both run and mountain bike the trails. And certainly I've seen just the increase that the numbers you're showing. Really appreciate the community's comments on this, and I think there's such a shared love of this place and its beauty, and we all enjoy being out there and want to make it the best it can be. One comment just on I think great comments on signage and that there's a need for it, and educating folks that aren't from the area. I think part of those signs should include a history of the people that have inhabited the Las Vegas Valley, in particular this area, historically, the indigenous people, and the sensitivity of the desert that a lot of folks from out of town don't appreciate, that a lot of others have echoed. And appreciate just the creative comments that folks have, said, like, making trails one way for bikes, I think could, really change things in a better fashion and prevent those tense encounters that are happening at an increased fashion. So yeah, really thanks for the BLM and look forward to commenting more formally.
Thank you, Jimmy. And it looks like our last commenter for the night is going to be Michael McDonald.
All right, thanks for grabbing my comment. I was not planning on making this, so it might not be very well articulated. But so I am heavily involved with an organization called NICA, which stands for the National Interscholastic Cycling Association. It's a youth mountain bike racing league that is incorporated into about 35 states across the nation at this point. And we have been running this in Southern Nevada for 2 or 3 years now. We're very small numbers at this point. We're just under 200 kids. They're involved in this. But if other states are any indication of how popular this is going to get, Utah has over 5,000 kids in their program. So this is kind of a heads up comment to both the BLM and all the other mountain bikers in the area that there's going to be a huge insurgence of young riders on the trails. And so the need for new trails and signage is of paramount importance, because these trails will be overrun if they're not expanded. And also, just to let everyone know, we are out there with large number of kids and doing our best to educate them. But we ask for people's patience as we educate the kids and teach them trail etiquette and how to interact with others. So anyway, that's my comment.
Thank you, Michael. Well, that was our last comment for the night. Just if you want to send in a comment, the project email is showing up right on the screen there. So feel free to send your comments there. And then there's also information up on the Red Rock Canyon website, and that list is right there. So I'm going to hand back to Josh to close out the meeting.
Great. Thanks, John. All of the comments and information provided in this meeting has been great. And just to again restate, that we have this the email address to continue to respond to. It's important for us to get as much information as we can from the public so that we can, in return, write a really good recreation area management plan that supports the needs of the area. And my ask is don't just give us your comments, but help us spread the word that this email address is available, and for other publics who was not able to attend tonight's meeting to pass it along and to have them provide us feedback that will help us with the collection of really good information. But again, I hope everyone has a good night, and thank you for your participation.
Thank you.